Welcome back to the Daily Dean. So, have you heard the tale of Phineas Gage? He's probably the best place to start as I'm talking about personality. Imagine you're in the 1800s and you're working on a railway. You're compacting some gunpowder inside of a little hole when suddenly the gunpowder ignites and the metal pole you're holding gets rammed up your eyeball into your brain area. That's his story. And before that incident, he was a very mild-mannered person, gentlemanly, you might say. And after it, he became irritable, very angry, impulsive, curseful, other stuff related to, impulsive actions that are kind of, hateful, possibly even, you could call it. And that's basically his whole, personality changing. And we attribute that to the damage to his frontal lobe, which would have been, which was where, well, there's more to it that I can explain and summarize here, but it's related to personality and higher thinking. So his impulse control and, personality was just, changed because it was damaged, his frontal lobe. So, that's that. But I want to talk about, what's it called? Personality tests. Actually, Myers Briggs personality test specifically. I understand if you take it for fun, like I did as well. I thought it was a nifty little, like a BuzzFeed quiz. Oh, what pizza topping are you? Other stuff like that. But I don't really enjoy it when businesses and career fairs especially and workplaces and even the government uses the Myers-Briggs personality test as the end-all truthful way of dictating what a person is like. It's interesting to see, oh yeah, this kind of applies to me, like a zodiac sign, right? I can totally get astrology. It's fun seeing if something vibes with you or not. But I don't get using oh, you're a thinking or judging type. That means that you'd be great for planning this birthday party. What? Dude, you should get to know somebody before you ask them to take on a responsibility instead of using a test. So, that's weird and that's silly. But, I hate it when people use it as a way to justify their actions. I'm more I'm going to act this way because it's my, archetype. Bro, can't you think for yourself? First of all, the Myers-Briggs test is, phooey. It uses 4 types of factors to define an entire person's personality. I'm going to go over the big 5 factors in psychology model that explains personality a little bit better, but it's still under the same kind of scrutiny that the Myers-Briggs test should be going under. Basically, a person acts there's more nuance to a person's behavior than just saying they're introverted or extroverted, than saying they're a feeling or a thinking person, than feeling that they're judging or whatever, right? And saying that justifying your possibly brutal honesty. Let's say you're saying, oh, that looks ugly on you, or something else along those really rude lines that could be put a little nicer, saying that, oh, it's just my personality type. I'm why would you, my guy, what are you doing justifying your rude actions using personality types? Basically that. Now, going over the big 5 personality model in psychology, there are 5 traits that psychologists have, modeled and researched and whatnot to explain personality and behavior. Because personality in psychology is defined as a persistent, persistent traits or character or ideas and thoughts that predict or, explain somebody's actions or interactions between another person and themselves. So, the big 5 is basically one way of explaining a person's personality. It's 5. You can use the acronym OCEAN. O stands for openness to experiences, C stands for conscientiousness, E stands for extroversion, A stands for agreeableness, and N stands for neuroticism. Those 4 are kind of understandable. Oh, openness is tolerance, conscientiousness is reliability or organization, extroversion is extroversion, right? Socializing. Agreeableness is how kind they are. But what's neuroticism, you may be asking? Neuroticism is how prone the person is to feeling negative states or emotions. So imagine that you are a neurotic person. You might be more likely to experience a lower low or a depressive, or feeling more depressed, using that word not clinically, using it to mean sad or very upset or something like that. Or feeling longer, or feeling periods of sadness longer than a normal person might, or not normal person, but a less neurotic person might feel like. So, that's all those are the 5 big 5, but under the same, like, that specific model is, like, kind of being, like, pushed aside, because while it is dimensional, it's a bit more specific than the, 4 factors in a freaking personality type that is either on or off, right? Introverted or extroverted, thinking or feeling, right? Because it's more like a scale, it's like an axis, but you have, like, 5 axes, right? For each one, you are more or less extroverted or, agreeable or neurotic. Basically, it's like, how can you explain all of a person's behavior using just 5 things? There's more nuance, as I used that word previously, to how a person acts. One person might be more happy with their family or with other, people that they know, but might not be, as social or as extroverted with, strangers, because they need to warm up to them. Does that necessarily make them introverted? The Myers Briggs personality test might say, yeah, that'll rank on the introverted part. And so would the Big Five personality model, which explains that, extroversion is how social you are in all situations. But how can all situations be the same when you have different, factors or moods, which change from day to day, right? That impact how another person acts or how another person might be feeling that day. So, basically, while personality is very complicated, there are models to explain it. The Myers-Briggs personality test, a fun little thing to take, like astrology with, with a grain of salt. The Big Five, which is, a good for broad strokes, as it says in my textbook, but not very great for explaining all people's behaviors all at once, all in one big fluid, theory, unifying theory. Not really. It's more like, if you want to get a quick glance at somebody, look at how neurotic or extroverted or agreeable they are. So, that's the Big Five, and that's personality, and that's all I've got to share about personality. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope you learned something or you enjoyed. So bye.